More than 100 personnel and 41 agencies have been involved in the search for Wells since she was reported missing from her home in the Beach Creek community Tuesday night.
Concerned that this could be an abduction at this point after so much time has passed?
Everything's on the table. I mean, we're looking at everything, crossing every T, dotting every I, and turning every stone. That's why we have two different operations. Captain's operation is search and rescue. And law enforcement operation is look into this incident and find Summer.
Is the father's criminal record relevant in this investigation?
No, sir.
I've also heard there's been speculation of the siblings in the household. Just wasn't sure if you're able to elaborate on the siblings at all.
They have three others besides Summer.
Older, younger, brothers, sisters?
Older.
Okay. One more question, guys. Anybody have another question? Okay.
I had a question. We've heard about issues with communications between search teams regarding lack of cell coverage as well as the radios. Can you elaborate on that? What those issues have been and how they've impacted the search?
Well, Captain, he can relate to that. As far as law enforcement, we can't hardly communicate at all on the radios, and cell phones are out of the question, but thanks to AT&T and Verizon, he can tell you about that. They've been a big help to us. Go ahead.
Elaborate on that real quick. AT&T and Verizon both have bought cell phone service boosters to our command post to help try to utilize cell phone coverage, which is still very spotty for most of the area. Radio communication between ground crews and also aerial aviation has been very difficult due to the state that our radio system's in at this time. For ground crew operations, we're having to utilize anywhere from 4 to 6 different radio channels to make sure we have the coverage where everybody's accounted for.
Real quick, when you said that the search area you covered was about a mile, did you mean a square mile or a radius around the residence?
That is going to be a radius from around the residence from the last point of her household.
Thanks everybody for being here. Just to clarify, ground search efforts end around 8 o'clock. However, if we do receive any phone calls giving us a credible lead, we do follow up on those leads throughout the night. Thanks for being here. Any updates will be posted on our Twitter feed, and we'll update you again as soon as we have something available. Thank you.
Tonight marks 5 weeks in the disappearance of 5-year-old Summer Wells. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation says they've received more than 1,000 tips.
A Midwest rescue group will return to the region this weekend. Their goal to once again help crews search for Summer. Tonight we're learning more about the challenges that rescuers faced in the initial ground search. News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel joins us live from our Kingsport newsroom.
Ansley, Hawkins County leaders are expected to address one of the main issues in a meeting tomorrow, right?
Josh and Sarah, even before Summer Wells' disappearance, the radio systems and lack of cell service were hot-button issues in Hawkins County, with some people not able to reach 911 at times, and even those who use that radio system for EMS and first responder services not able to communicate with each other. After this search for Summer expanded, those issues were highlighted, even brought up during press conferences from law enforcement and search leaders. The operations on the ground have been a topic for county officials in several different meetings now, and tomorrow how those issues impacted that ground search is expected to dominate the conversation at a public safety committee meeting. In an interview with News Channel 11 last week, the incident commander of search operations, Captain Tim Coop, said Washington and Sullivan counties and the state bringing in equipment to extend that signal made all of the difference.
The only thing that hindered this search operations at the start of the first several days was radio communications. Beforehand, there's no way we could have done the search operations and covered the amount of ground we covered with the peace of mind knowing that if something happened, we could get them help. The command structure could get them help until that radio system was there.
While there have been issues for years, in December of 2019, that radio system failed, and after that, those who used the radio systems reported clicking and static noises during phone calls. Neither the Public Safety Committee chair nor the county's EMA director were available for interviews today. While the search for Summer Wells is not an agenda item tomorrow, it is expected to come up in each director's report. That meeting is set for tomorrow at 3 p.m. Live in the Kingsport newsroom, Ansley Daniel, News Channel 11.
Ansley, thanks. Now, if you have any information that can help investigators, call 1-800-TBI-FIND or email the address that's on your screen.
before we go on, if Commissioner Fields don't care, I'd like to go ahead and say a little prayer for Summer Wells. She's still missing, and I'd like to just go ahead and open up the meeting by doing that. I do, sir. Please stand.
Our large-scale Beach Creek operation, which still continues, the initial call came out for that on June 15th. Some questions on that we obviously won't be able to answer at this time due to that being an ongoing investigation and ongoing operation. Either way, as far as within my staff, we never lost communications on the ground. I've got AT&T FirstNet phones deployed with everybody in my department. I was out of town when the event first happened, was able to stay in contact with my employees on the ground continuously throughout that in the initial few days. The command trailer communications unit was deployed. It was there for 13 days. Interesting fact of how much an event like that costs and the resources that are required in that. We usually have 400 gallons of fuel just during that operation, and that continues as we're being deployed for a day operation here and there. There was obviously some communications issues in the initial couple days of that event that was reported by media. EMA along with 911 assisted in deploying 3 SALs into that event, which was AT&T's FirstNet, Verizon, and Tennessee Advanced Communication Network. I'll let some of the other agencies speak on exactly what they ran into the first couple of days, but some of the neighboring counties gave us radios to use with that Tennessee Advanced Communication Network SAL while it was being deployed.
911.
I'll be quick. We're continuing to work with the ad hoc committee on the possibility of a backup 911 center. The search in Beach Creek, we logged over 1,000 additional man hours with mobile communications trailer. That doesn't include the dispatchers that were actually at the district working. We determined once we arrived on scene there that communications was going to be a problem with the phones and the radios. The 911 district is a foundation agency with FirstNet, so we immediately requested that they deploy a site on wheels. They generally require about a 24-hour response time for that, and they were on scene within 12 hours of us requesting that. So that anybody that had AT&T service or FirstNet, that gave them service at the search site. Radios were also an issue. We tried to do some patching with Hawkins County Rescue Squad with their communications trailer and their event repeater, but that was on the same band, VHF, so we couldn't do that. It was causing some problems. So we requested that TACN deploy a site on wheels as well, and they deployed that and actually put it in Beach Creek. Team of Sullivan County EMA provided us with a cache of approximately 50 radios to hand out to the responders that were on scene. If it hadn't been for them providing those radios, we would have been in a mess in Beach Creek. We would have had no communications with all these people. So if we get to the point of looking at purchasing radios, that's something that we need to look at, is having a cache on hand for events like this. And I think,
and of course, one thing that it kind of Jamie hit on, and also Lynn. One thing this county really needs to, and Jamie in his office has put timeless hours into the radio system. If it wasn't for Hawkins County having their mobile event repeater they were able to deploy there at the command post, we wouldn't have had radio communications hardly at all the first night. At one point, we were actually moving one of our rescue squad vehicles on Ben Hill, because at one point we'd have radio communication with Central Dispatch, at one point we wouldn't. They deployed that assisted greatly. Orchestrated right there close to the command post and on the Ben Hill Road, very spotty limited radio communication. With the assistance of, like Jamie stated, Sullivan County, the state bringing in the TACN SAL that was deployed there at the Joint Information Center where all media was staged at. At that point, I believe we only had 1 or 2 areas that we had issues with radio communication, and it was as simple as those groups. would literally step to the side, move a couple feet up down the hill somewhere, and the dispatchers then provided, we had radio communication with everybody. And I don't know what all everybody here's done as a career, but when I took my position at Church of Rescue Squad's captain, one of my main responsibilities is the safety of my people. I had no issue knowing that I knew not only my people, those 1,194 searchers that were there, law enforcement included, I knew where they were at, and I had accountability of them. The tagging system, that is something this county needs to look into. I understand there's a dollar sign there, but I do not believe any of you guys standing right here put a dollar sign on one person's safety and what that one person's worth. If you've not been through Beach Creek and pulled off Beach Creek Road and pulled on the Bend Hill Road, Fields Road, Bell Road, any of those roads through there and start looking at terrain, one ill step, seriously injured to kill. We had 1,194 people searching that area. So, guys, I can't stress enough. I don't want to go to one of my members, I'm sure Hawkins County Sheriff's Department, Rescue Squad, EMS, you guys don't want to have to make that door knock on the phone going, your child's father, mother, brother, sister, they're not coming home because of lack of communication and safety for these guys that are doing this as a volunteer for free. Yes, sir.
Prior to this, when we had the communications meetings,
yes, sir.
There was a gentleman here from Tackett.
Yes, sir.
And with the DMR, he stated that we had like 78% coverage. Mm-hmm. In his own words, he said if we added Tackett, we would only get maybe 80%.
That 80% kept my searchers out of state and the people here locally safe.
I'll address that. That's all right, we can.
Go ahead.
What we talked about there in my presentation with DMR, we're getting into a different system here, which is tagging, which was also presented during the initial radio conversations. Tagging owns their own frequencies. They're not limited. Tagging can be built out as big as you can afford to build it out. They can provide that if you have one spot that doesn't have coverage, you're willing to spend the money to fix that site or that area, that they can fix it, but that comes at a great cost. And their flexibility there is on their own frequencies. So some of those numbers were by how much money we were willing to put into that system. But it also gives advancements in the future. In 10 years, if you decide to build that site, or if they decide to build that site, they have frequencies to do it.
Thank you, Jim.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, I really appreciate everything all the we has done, but I mean, county commission, I feel like every time something happens, we start getting blamed for radio. And the way I look at it, we can't do nothing for radios until we see a resolution for something come in front of us to decide on what to do on the radio. And I don't know, how come we always get a finger pointed at us? We have done everything that we're supposed to do that we've seen in front of us so far.
Absolutely, and I'm glad on that. My statements that I made is pointing no blame. This is just providing you additional information that you guys don't see. Like I said, in Beach Creek, I'm just providing you information saying, hey, this system works. There's no point to blame. This is additional information, reaching out. We can't do it on our own. We're trying to come to the commission to say, hey, help us. We're not pointing blame. I don't think any agency here would point a finger at any one of you guys or any one of them when every one of these seats are filled. This is just providing information to help you guys make the right decision for us.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that statement. And I've sat here and I've listened to part of it, but as a county commissioner myself, the issue at hand right now is Summer Wells.
Absolutely.
And nobody has given us an update on her since I've been here today.
Approximately 1,500 miles driven, and the reason for that was going to area counties to get supplies, and we also used a utility trailer that we have that our Rangers, our side-by-side is hauled on to haul personnel to the drop locations throughout the search. So Tim Lewis done a lot of that, hauling crews and stuff all over the Beach Creek area and picking them up. So we had a bunch of equipment that was committed to that search. Four-wheel drive Suburbans, our communication trailer. As it was mentioned, our event repeater was used initially. We continued to use that throughout the event for the transportation units that were picking it up. So we worked tying up that main channel that was being used by the search crews. So that was used throughout the whole event. And we continue to stay in contact. Me and Tim talk almost daily, sometimes hourly, and we have equipment ready to respond if there was a reactivation with food and supplies that we would need to go back up there. So we have all that ready as well as our members. So does anybody have any questions on our involvement with the Ben Hill search?
I guess I have one problem. I know the sheriff's office, I think, was the one that did it. They were advising people a lot of people not to come and mess the tracking system up, I'll put it that way.
Right.
But at the same time, the county commission was criticized for not being there.
Do you want to address that?
Yeah, I can elaborate on that. So it may be just strictly a little bit of confusion. It wasn't that we didn't want the county commission there. There was like I stated, there were several county commissions that showed up there. What we were requesting, not the community to be involved, other people other than these trained personnel, the agencies were requested, was for the actual search operations itself. For a couple different reasons. One, yes, the skilled teams, the K-9s that were in there, we had to be very tactful on where we deployed people, when we deployed them. And not only that, there was no public land of where we were at. So when you start bringing people outside of here other than emergency services, you have permission, you have consent to be on these areas searching, and one person finds out, well, so-and-so was with them and they're not involved in it, they're just a civilian coming in, we don't want the interaction. It takes away from what we originally were for. That was to find some wells. So it had nothing to do with not wanting these people there. The county commissioners, the other county officials, we had people from the bus shop, they're providing us a bus to transport people back and forth. Several other offices, the county offices, come by, drop off food, hang out, talk, pray with us. The command post itself, I mean, if you were involved in this county or outside this county in emergency services, or the county itself was more than welcome to. And I apologize if that was taken or confused or taken the wrong way. It was just we didn't want anybody from the outside to set back for these search operations itself.
Well, it was on the phone that, a lot of commissioners didn't get a lot of support from commissioners, but I also know some people that go to church there at Carmen, where the command post was.
Yes, sir.
I believe.
Yes, sir.
And they were telling us they didn't want people in there at the time because of the fact, that Mr. And I guess they were saying that they didn't want them there doing the search.
Yes.
Like you're saying, it might have been good to come by the command post and offer your support.
Absolutely, and then like I said, and that was another thing. The church there where we had the command post.
Yeah.
That's another favor my agency or this county as a whole can never put a money value on.
I know.
And those people that went to that church were there, provided us food, they provided us everything. Like I said, those people were phenomenal, and it was strictly just for the search operations.